Hello, my beautiful souls. Thank you for joining me again for another pick a card reading. This pick a card reading is going to be a little bit different. I've already pre-shuffled and put in front of you here 3 piles. We have the first pile, which is the Labradorite. The second pile, which is the Nuumite. And then the third pile, which is the Tiger's Eye. Okay, so please do look below in the description box, as you will find the timestamps for every single pile. These readings really are timeless, so they are meant to find you when you find them. Please note that this is a collective general reading, so there may be things that don't necessarily apply to your situation. Certainly take it as it resonates and discard the rest, okay? Please do not use these messages to make formal decisions about your lives. Your decision should really be taken based on your intuition and your inner knowledge. This is really just for entertainment purposes and just to bring you maybe some additional clarity or guidance in terms of any questions you might have or any situations you might be in. So without further ado, I'm going to start with pile number 1. So I'm going to put these to the side. Okay, pile number 1. Beautiful Labradorite. I love the way this crystal shines in the light. It's just so beautiful. It reminds me of the Northern Lights. So let's see what we have for you. So you're going to have 2 cards out of the Shamanic Healing Oracle. So we have Sacred Space, and we have Past, Present, and Future. And from the Healing Angels deck, we have Sobriety. Okay. From the Oracle deck, we have All That Glitters. From the Angel Answers deck, we have Compromise. From the from the Answers Symbol Oracle cards, we have Celebrate You. Put that over here. And the second card is Turn On the Light. And from the Fairies Oracle deck, we have the Child. Okay. So give me just a bit of a moment here to channel into these energies. So for some of you, I'm definitely getting that you really like to party. You might even be the light of the party, and anytime you have a chance, you try to go out and have a party because you really do enjoy social events. You really do enjoy going out. Now, with the angel card here with Sobriety, it kind of does point to the fact that there may be some unhealthy addictions or unhealthy patterns that are currently in your life, and it's really calling for you to just review what's really serving you and to adjust as necessary. So I do feel that, you know, people, as I mentioned, do view you as the life of the party. They see that you are just so full of life, and that, you know, you are able to bring a lot of joy to people, especially at special events. But sometimes it feels that you might need to compromise certain aspects of your life in order to make it look like you have all your shit put together. In some cases, and this is really for some of you, your children might not necessarily be at the forefront of your actions, of what you're doing right now. You might be compromising certain parts of your life in order to have others, right? So you might be working, I'm hearing working hard a lot. You might be working a lot in order to make sure that you are able to provide for your family and for your children. And, you know, it's not to say that you're discarding your children, but you might not be giving them the same amount of attention that you're providing to everything else. So I think this is just a bit of a, just kind of a, well, I was going to say a message, turn on the light, just to kind of refocus yourself and see what actually matters to you. You know, at the end of the day, everybody else that's around you that, you know, looks to you for approval, that looks to you to be the light um, in their space, at the end of the day, like, you have to really determine whether or not you want to keep focusing your energy on that. Because I feel like some of you, despite the fact that, you know, you're celebrating and you're having a good time, and maybe, you know, you're going to different social events, I feel like that many of you feel very alone, despite the fact that you're, you know, around a lot of other people. Some of you don't feel like it's actually filling up that void. And so it's like, what is it going to take to fill up that void, right? How are you going to be able to fill that void, making sure that you have everything that fulfills you, right? But I think it's also a call to say, well, what actually matters to you? What are the things that matter to you? And, you know, you might need to compromise with some of those things, because you're not always going to be able to have all that glitters, right? Because if you really are down that path, well, other aspects of your life may suffer or may not get as much attention as needed. So I think this is a little bit of it's a little bit of a wake-up call for some people to say that, you know, maybe you need to take a step back and just reevaluate where you're putting your energy, making sure that, you know, if you do have family, and if you do have, you know, people, if you're a caregiver, if you know, if you have dependents, that you are allocating attention to them as well, because they do want that attention from you too. And I think there's so many different pieces that require your attention right now that you might feel unbalanced in that compromise, and so you might be going into some patterns or addictions that are unhealthy for you, right? So this is really just to kind of take a step back, and this is really shown with the past, present, and future, right? So it's like, are you doing this right now because you've been doing it for a long time? Is it because it feels familiar? And is this something you want to keep doing? Is this something that's sustainable, right? So I think that you have to maybe take a step back and find that sacred space, right? Really look inwards, and really define what is important to you, because right now it seems like I'm feeling like it's very chaotic. There's a very chaotic energy. Maybe there's just always things that are ongoing. It's like go, 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 one thing after another. But you know, we all need some time to pause and to take it easy from time to time, because sometimes all that glitters is not always gold, right? So it might look like it's beautiful, shiny, but then once you get to it, you find out, well, what else have I left behind trying to attain that shiny thing, right? So for this pile, I'm really sensing that you really do need some rest. You need to take a step back and really, again, go inwards, finding that sacred space, and really determining from there on what matters and what compromises you have to make and how you can make those compromises without having to go into really negative patterns, whether they're negative patterns of thought, whether they're negative patterns relating to addictions, right? So how are you able to make that compromise for your future, right? Making sure that you have taken the lessons that you've learned from and that you are applying them to your future, right? Because obviously we're not trying to go backwards, we want to move forward. And so if we really truly want to move forward properly, we need to apply the life lessons that have been dealt to us up to now. And sometimes, that means that we have to step back from something that's familiar, although we really don't want to, because it's nice, it feels good. But I think that you really need to reevaluate. And this message is really just for some of you. Again, this is a collective reading. I really think you need to reevaluate your family position and how important your family is, because at this point it seems that you are chasing other things and maybe the family is being left on the side and not getting as much attention as maybe they need, right? So your family really needs you right now. And I think you need to think about taking the right the right steps, and what those right steps are by going, like I said, inwards, finding that secret space within you, and making sure that you are learning from your past, your present, for your future, right? So this is the Miracle Now deck. Sorry, I always find it like super hard to shuffle just because the cards are very slippery, but they are very beautiful cards. So Spirit, do you have any other messages for pile 1? Okay, this one needs to come out. Spirit, do you have any other messages for pile 1? And this one wants to come out. Okay. So on the bottom of the deck is, I can find peace in every breath. And then it's funny, we have breath here, and then we have breath in this one. This one is, when I feel blocked, emotionally distressed, or overwhelmed, I turn to my breath. So it's funny that this one came out, because I feel like it really does speak to the sobriety card, meaning that excuse me, when you feel blocked, emotionally distressed, or overwhelmed, you might turn to those patterns, to those addictions, as a way to fulfill that fear, right? But I think this calls on you to say that you are strong enough to deal with it without having to rely on any additional patterns of behaviors, right? You really need to look inward within you, because you have all the tools inside of you. So that's beautiful. And then the second one that I have here is, by spreading loving energy, I attract more love. So definitely you do, as I mentioned, you might be the life of the party, or you make other people happy, people feel genuinely happy about you. And, I'm not saying don't do that anymore, right? I think that continuing to be happy in all aspects of your life is super important, making sure that all aspects are equally being given the same level of attention, right? Because I feel like right now your attention might be focused on other areas of your life that may not necessarily be serving your highest good. Okay, so pile 1, that is all that I have for you. Thank you so much, and I'm going to be moving on to pile 2. Hello, my pile 2s. You picked the Nuumite. Nuumite, this is such an interesting crystal. This is actually believed to be one of the oldest crystals. I mean, they're all really super old and beautiful, but this one is very, very special. I don't know if you can see, it's got all these like little flecks of specks of bright in it. So although, you know, it's dark, there's so much light that it can still project through these flecks. So yeah, that's Nuumite for you. So from the Shamanic Healing Oracle, we have movement into balance. Oh, that's beautiful. Healing energy. Oh my goodness. That's so nice. Love it. Love, 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 love. It's funny. I was just talking about this, about it being dark, but there's so many aspects of it that, you know, can shine light. So healing. Okay. Then we have divine intervention. Okay. So that kind of goes with the healing card. And then we have around and around. Okay. So there's definitely something going on here, some similar pattern that is repeating. And the divine is basically saying, okay, this is now going to stop. You need to heal. Ask for help from others. Okay. I'm going to put this just a little bit higher. I hope you guys can see this. And you guys actually got 3 cards out of the Answer Symbol Oracle deck. So lucky you. So the first one is Accept Love. The second one is Create. Beautiful cards. And then the third one is Fill the Well. And from the Lenormand Fairies deck, I have the mountain. Or sorry, the clouds, not the mountain. There is a mountain, but the focus is really on the clouds. So just give me a couple moments here while I tune into these energies. Oh, I feel like there has been a pretty destructive path. You have been on almost like a self-destructive path. And you've been going around and around. This is really kind of jumping up to me. You've been going down this path over and over and over again. It's like you're tired of riding this wheel, right? You just wanted to come to, you wanted to stop. You wanted to, you want to heal, and you basically want to move on because you understand that this pattern is not serving you right now. So I definitely do see that you are moving into balance and you're healing. And a lot of this is also from divine intervention. I think the divine has finally come to you, and maybe you've heard things in your dreams. Maybe you've actually been in the hospital and experienced like a near life death experience that really kind of woke you up. And of course, this isn't going to be for everybody. Obviously, this is very specific, but maybe someone, around you was very, very ill or had really bad patterns, and seeing them being ill kind of, made you snap out of it and think like, oh my gosh, I really need to stop going around and around because this could really be me. I could end up here, right? So in some way, shape, or form, the divine has come to do an intervention with you to really show you that, there really is no good way of continuing down that same path, right? That you have to get off that Ferris wheel, because otherwise you're going to just keep going round and around and around. But the nice part is, as I said, movement into balance, and that's number 1. So obviously that's a great number. But if you look under here, like this is the ground, right? And this is the sky, and under the ground there's just so much rain, right? So I feel like there is a lot of pain that you've been going through, a lot of pain, and you've been trying to mask that pain any way, shape, or form, however has been necessary to you, because maybe you just don't feel good inside your skin, I'm hearing. But that lovely healing energy is coming in place. And so in this card, you can kind of see the hand there, and it's in the background of, like, the background is red, and then the background behind that is confidence. So the red really kind of speaks to me regarding your root chakra. So you haven't been feeling very secure. And your root chakra has been like completely imbalanced, and because of that, you've been indulging into very precarious behavior. And some of that behavior, the result of that behavior has really been to strip you of your self-confidence and that safety and security that you have, right? I'm getting inner child wounds here. So maybe for some of you, you've had a very traumatic childhood that has kind of caused you to go around and around because, your inner child needed healing, right? But the beautiful part about this is, like, everywhere there's hands, right? There's hands here, there's hands here, there's hands over here, right? So this one is accept love, and I think a lot it goes like hand in hand with ask for help from others. So you might be a person that maybe because of your patterns of behavior, you may have pushed people away from you, and so now you don't feel good about asking those people that you've pushed away for help, right? But the divine is saying, like, ask for help from others. Don't, put your ego aside, because your ego doesn't matter anymore. Your ego mattered when you were going around and around, but now that you are going into this healing energy, you really are focused on healing your inner child. And so you really do need that assistance. So you are absolutely invited to ask for help from others. And, if you have no one physically there to help you, don't forget that you have spirit guides, angels, and ancestors that are with you at all times, right? And they're just waiting for you to ask them for help. They obviously don't want to intrude because you have, free will. But if you ask them for help, they will be there to guide you, right? And so that goes really with divine intervention, that, all of your troops that are defending you are really just standing by you. So don't discredit all the messages that you may have been seeing, all the synchronicities you may have been, seeing, messages that you may have had in your dreams, or maybe, while you were at the hospital, or while you were in some kind of procedure or medical procedure. Don't discredit that, okay? It wasn't your imagination. It is actually the divine pushing for intervention for you, and because they do want you to move into balance, they want you to heal, right? And ultimately, once this healing starts happening, you are going to be able to create, right? Which is going to be beautiful. So, this lady here, like, obviously all of these beautiful swans were just like a bush, right? And they all kind of look the same. But, she's creating this beautiful swan bush that makes it that much better to be with or to look at, right? And so I think that this is really about you creating a new you, right? Moving into balance and really finding that stability. Because it's funny, like, she's standing on a ladder, but the ladder is like not really leaning against anything. So she's really strong and she's really stable. So I think it's really about creating that stability. You have to create that stability. And at first, it's probably not going to be apparent how to do that. But don't forget to ask for help from others, okay? Your guardian angels and your spirit guides and ancestors are all there with you. So they want to help you feel that well. They want to help you work towards creating something new, towards creating a new you, right? Now, obviously, this isn't going to come easy. It's not going to be just handed to you, because, well, then what would be the point of that? We would never be able to learn from anything. So although there may be, so, you see hard labor here, there may be some clouds up ahead, right? But if you look at the horizon is really beautiful. And from the the standpoint of this picture is really towering over that mountain, and you know those clouds are going to dissipate, so don't worry about those clouds that are there right now. They are part of your healing, okay? They really are there to help you heal. And so you see the yellow that's kind of coming across there too. The you know, the sun is always somewhere even when it rains, right? So always remember that. You obviously are going to have to put in some work in order to co-create, and to create this new you. But I feel like you absolutely have divine intervention and angels there by your side. So that's beautiful, guys. You know, you're definitely divinely protected, and everything that you've experienced, although it seems like it's just been so tumultuous, over and over and over again, it's like, oh my gosh, do I ever learn? Am I ever going to get off this terrible ride? But it's all been there to help you achieve the best part of you, right? So even though this bush was nice, it was green, it was beautiful, she still made it better, right? So there's always opportunities for improvement, and I think that this is a great time for you guys, because you are going to get into that self-acceptance, right? And really coming to terms with whatever has happened in the past, whatever you've done or whatever you haven't done. You're going to learn that self-acceptance, and you know, you're, in so doing, you're going to be able to create a brand new person, and you're really going to be able to fill that well with all the knowledge that you've acquired, right? You're going to look at things differently now, and people, you know, will probably now start coming to you for advice, seeing how much of change you've implemented in your own life, right? So you might become a mentor for certain people. Okay, so I'm just going to get some last messages from my Miracle Now deck. Whoa, okay, those ones want to come out. They are coming out. Okay, so on the bottom of the deck we have, I let my intimate relationships be my greatest learning devices for spiritual growth and healing. So we have healing and healing again, okay? So I really think that for some of you, again, not all of you, but for some of you, you may have gone through very, very tough relationships where, you know, you've gone round and round to the point where, you know, it's almost gotten you to your breaking point, right? And the divine is now saying, like, enough, like, you know, this is not going to keep going. I'm not going to let you do this again. You need to move into balance. You need to start healing. And in order to do that, you're going to have to do a little bit of shadow work, right? So you're going to have to look towards, you know, the things that brought you here in the first place, right? What brought you to the point where you were before you started healing? And how can you apply those lessons to your life, right? So I speak with confidence because the world needs my light. Okay, so it's funny, I was saying that, right? Where some people, once you've now shifted into this confident, healed person, people will probably be coming to you because they will see how much light you shine, okay? And you really are going to be confident, and everybody will kind of turn to you and look to you as saying like, wow, he or she is the expert. Like, I can really turn to this person when I have concerns, or when I have worries, or when I have questions, because they've been through so much and they've changed, and confidence. So I like that, because, you know, the healing here, we're talking about the solar plexus chakra, and of course the solar plexus is really about confidence, right? So I speak with confidence, so that's beautiful. You're going to move into that confidence. I make time to recharge my battery. The world needs my energetic light. So I think some of it kind of goes with this, because you see this person here, they're laying down, and maybe this is just like divine intervention saying, like, stop, you need to just chill out for a bit. Like, you're just doing way too much. You're going to burn out. You're going round and round, and none of this is serving you. So this is really calling, you know, Spirit's really calling on you to take some time off and recharge, because if you're not, then you're just going to keep going round and round. You're not going to be able to let the world see your light, right? Light, light. Everywhere there's light now. I don't dance around the perimeter of the person I want to be. I step in fully and completely. Yeah, so I think a lot of this is to do with the movement into balance. So, you know, you have to be true to yourself, and like, what are the things that you have to do in order to get yourself back into balance? How do you get yourself back into balance, or what does balance look like to you, right? We all have, you know, our own ideas of what balance needs to look like or needs to feel like, but you really need to know what that looks like to you, because if you don't know, well, then you're not going to be able to step into it, right? So really go inwards and find out what it is that, what's the person that you want to be. Like, obviously you're healing from your past right now, which is great, or you're starting to heal, which is very good. Just be mindful that if you don't have a clear picture of who you want to be, you're not going to be able to get there. You may go back into your old habits, and so obviously that might put some damper on your healing, but having a clear picture of who you want to be and where you want to go is definitely going to serve you to get to that, you know, that spot where you are creating that new you, where you are filling your own well with confidence, and where others are able to see that in you now. And the last card is releasing anger from the past sets me free in the present. Yeah, so I definitely feel like, just going back to what I was saying, right? There's been a really, I feel a really heavy energy with this past. Like you've had a really, really hard either childhood, or just the last few years have been just like extremely trying for you. And so because of that, you've had so much anger, right? So going back to this, right? Just so much sorrow, anger, frustration, right? But in order to move into balance, you have to be able to release that. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to move into that beautiful, sunny, beautiful sunny outlook over here. You have to really release that anger, and to release the anger, you have to accept it, right? You have to accept what made you angry, and really transmute that energy, accept it and release it, right? So there are a few obviously steps that you have to take in order to release that anger, but and you know, it's not going to be you know, tomorrow. It's not going to be maybe after tomorrow. It's a process, right? It's all a process, and it's going to take some time, but I think that because of all the pain that you've gone through, and I think really I'm getting, you know, like inner child wounds here, like major inner child wounds here. Because of those inner child wounds, you've had just so much anger, and maybe you haven't treated everybody the way that they were supposed, that you, right, that where you really wanted to treat them, right? Maybe that anger kind of took over in the way that you responded to certain people sometimes, right? So just be mindful that, you know, your response and attitude towards certain people, when, you know, it's just totally uncalled for, as they say, right? It might be because you still have some of that anger. So it's really about figuring out, you know, what's happened in the past. What are those wounds that you need to heal? And, you know, don't dance around, figure it out. Like be honest with yourself. And if you can't, you know, if you can't figure it out, then, you know, maybe, I know I'm hearing, write a letter to yourself. Write a letter to yourself, and in it, like, just write everything that's just coming to mind. Whatever just comes to mind, whether it's just words, whether it's drawings, whatever it is, just put it on paper. And then, you know, once you see it on the paper, you know, start reflecting and meditate, and take the time to kind of go through whatever has come through you onto that paper, and, you know, really think about releasing it, releasing that, because obviously it's no longer serving you. Okay, so that's all that I have for you, pile 2. Thank you very, very much, and I'm going to move on to pile 3 now. Bye-bye. Okay, pile 3. Thanks for joining me. You have the tiger's eye. It's a really interesting tiger's eye. It's like a jasper tiger's eye almost, right? Because it's got the root chakra, the dark red, and it's just so beautiful. I wish you could all just touch it too. Just even touching it is just so, it flows so softly and smoothly. So very nice. Okay, so pile 3, let's see. So I have 2 cards from the Shamanic Healing Oracle. So I have Changes. Then the second card is Honoring Your Energy. Okay. Okay, self-worth. Remembering who you are and what you want to do in life, right? And look at that. You have the sun there, so that's beautiful. That's definitely a positive card here. But I think it's also a card that says it's pay attention card too, right? It's a positive pay attention card. So let's see what else we have for you. So we have leave a stressful situation behind, right? So having the courage and willingness to take good care of yourself, including your surroundings, as well as having healthy and positive situations. And then we have chaos and conflict, number 3386. Okay. And that's from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. If you believe, that's from the Angel Answers Oracle. Thank God. And give yourself the best. Oh, I love that. So nice. And the last card from the Fairies Lenormand deck is number 27, which is the letter or a message. Okay. So give me just a few moments while I kind of tune into these energies here. Okay. So for some of you, some of you are either on the cusp of a major life change, or you've already started down that path, right? I feel like there's been a lot of chaos and conflict in your life. Like, look at this. Like, this is supposed to be a zebra, right? But he almost looks like it looks like he's changing his stripes to be a giraffe. So I feel like a lot of this is inner chaos and conflict, where you feel that you've had to put off a part of yourself, or stop yourself from being true to who you really are, because of a situation or a person that you were with, in order to please that person, right? In order to make them love you, I'm hearing. I don't know why. Or in order to be part of the group, right? So at the top, there's like these beautiful banners, but this one in the middle, it kind of just stands out, right? So maybe you've always felt like you don't fit in, right? Or maybe you've always felt a little different. And because of that, you've always felt like you've had to mold yourself into certain situations or into certain personalities, so that you could be part of the group, right? So there's been a lot of inner chaos and conflict going on around you, I feel. And I think you're really tired of it. You're like, you know what, like, I'm done with this. Like, I want to make changes because I want to start honoring who I am. Like, I've been doing so much for everybody else. And, you know, instead of growing straight the way that I've been wanting to grow, I'm growing kind of sideways, right? I'm still growing up, but I'm not as tall as I could have been, right? So I feel like the fact that you haven't really been honoring your higher self and really trying to mold to people's expectations of you has kind of caused this inner chaos and conflict within yourself. And so you're kind of at a place right now where you're like, this needs to change. I cannot keep doing this for my own, mental sanity, for my own health. I can't keep doing this because I'm not being true to myself. And really, at the end of the day, how am I serving myself if I'm not actually honoring who I am? If I'm constantly just telling others who they, if I'm constantly just telling others, the version of myself that they want me to be, I'm not honoring my highest and truest self. So I feel that for some of you, there's going to be some major changes coming around, right? Some changes that may also impact you financially, where you might not feel like you are able to give yourself the best. But at the end of the day, and it's funny, right? Because this lady, she's got this great big hair, right? And she's got all these adornments all over her hair. And, she's looking at this cake and it's like, oh, this cake looks so good. But there's so much cake. There's no way she's going to be able to eat all that cake by herself, right? And really, like, look at all the weight that this person is carrying, right? So in trying to please everybody and make yourself look good, you're carrying so much weight on your shoulders, on your head, to the point where you're like, oh my gosh, I need to stop. I need to leave this stressful situation behind, right? And for some of you, when I see this card, I feel that some of you might feel bound because you might have kids in this situation, so it makes it that much harder to progress through, because of that, of that child. But you also need to think that that child is really looking to you for their happiness, and they're gonna be mirroring your attitude and your behavior, and also your molding too. So definitely, I think you have to be a role model here for those that you're caring about, or for those that are your caregiver too, or for your dependents, to say that I'm not going to keep being untruthful to myself. This is me, and this is who I am. And I mean, whether you have kids or not, this might be just other people. It's kind of like, well, this is the direction that I'm going in, and so if you're with me, then fine. But if you're not, then that's okay. I'm okay to leave you behind. But obviously, it's not going to come without chaos and conflict, right? People may blame you, okay? People might blame you for leaving that situation behind and saying, oh, well, you could have, or you should have. But at the end of the day, you have to really look inwards. And if you really truly feel that this is the right thing to do, and obviously being true to your higher self and honoring your energy is just so important. So if you have this belief that what you are doing is right because it is coming from a place of higher love, a place with unconditional love, then absolutely you're making the right decision. Don't let anybody tell you any different, right? And so just along the edges of the card here, you can see the green, and this kind of just, to me, it just alludes to the heart chakra, right? And even like this kind of light is right, like, close to the heart chakra there. So I would say that, if you truly believe within your heart that you are doing the right thing because you're honoring yourself, then absolutely keep doing that. And don't worry about what other people say to you, or about what other messages you might receive. Because people might be talking shit about you. Okay, you might hear about it, you might see just random conversations about people doing that, or just not agreeing with the decisions that you've made. But again, as long as you're coming from a place of love, self-love, and I think this is really about self-love, right? Honoring your energy, loving who you really are, and showing it to the world, because you haven't really been doing that up to now. You've really kind of just been living in solitude, kind of keeping all of this burden inside and just not letting anybody in, because you just constantly feel the need to mold to your environment, to whoever is around you, so that they like you. That's what I'm hearing. And thank God. So in this picture we see someone who's stranded on an island, and like a faraway ship kind of approaching, and he's just got his hands in prayer and just saying like, thank you. So I think that this situation just calls for you to be grateful, despite the fact that, you know, you may be leaving people behind, you may be leaving places behind, you might be in a tough financial situation. These changes are all meant for your highest good, so that you can honor your energy and your higher self, right? So this is really just about being grateful despite all the changes and despite all the chaos that's happening. Don't forget to be grateful, and to keep positive, because if you believe it, again, if you're coming from a true place in your heart where you believe that that's the right thing, and you are grateful for everything that you do have, then absolutely, you know, you're on the right path. It's just a matter of, you know, remembering that not all is lost. I don't know why that came into my head. Not all is lost, despite what the situation may look like. And just, you know, it's nice to take a moment every single day to just give thanks and just be grateful for everything that we have. You know, that's how we kind of attract more abundance into our life. And I think that, you know, if you are grateful for everything, you are going to be able to give yourself the best. And I mean, this card also kind of, I'm hearing like you might be the only person that can give that to yourself. So, you know, nobody else is able to give that to you, because you're really the only person that knows who you are and what you want. So, you know, go and get the best of what you want. You deserve it, you know. But don't forget to be grateful, okay? Very important. Be grateful, because every experience that we have, you know, every negative experience that we have, you know, shapes us and changes us and makes us better people. Better people for it. So don't forget to be grateful, and really honor yourself. Know what your worth is, because you're worth a lot. You are such a beautiful person that does love to give all the time, and sometimes you forget about yourself. So don't forget to give yourself the best too. But I think, and this is just going to be for a few people, but don't be surprised if you're the only person that can give yourself that, right? So don't look for self-validation to other people to give that to you, because really those people might not even really know who you truly are. So there's a lot of masks, a lot of cloaks that you've put on to try and disguise who you really are, because you're worried that people are not going to like you for who you really are. But I definitely see some very big changes happening with this pile, and I think that as long as you remain positive, and again, just come from a place where you are honoring your highest and your truest self, then, you know, the sun is going to be there with you. You know, the fact that, you know, God came out here, and, you know, even this, I can't remember what this is called. It's not like, oh, this is a pentagram, but I can't remember what that, it's like, it'll come to me. Yeah, I can't think of what it's called. I have one downstairs and I can't think of what it's called. So I think that as long as you are true to yourself, and just remember that you are on a divine path, okay? So you can see that this beautiful lady, you know, she's got protection behind her. So don't forget that your angels are there to help you. And, you know, if you truly believe that that's the right way, then, you know, you are encouraged to take it, you know, because it feels like there has been a lot of stress. You know, with these two cards, like, absolutely, there's been like so much stress, and you feel alone, and you feel like despair, right? Like, oh my gosh, is this the right thing that I'm doing? Is this really the right thing? You know, the highest good for every soul involved. Is this the right thing that I'm doing? And, you know, Spirit wants to tell you that, yeah, like, leaving that stressful situation behind, however it is that you're going to do it, you know, make sure that you have the highest good and unconditional love in your, you know, in your intent, so that you can progress forward properly. So I'm just going to get a couple more cards from the Miracles Now deck. So Spirit, is there any other guidance or advice for pile number 3? Any other guidance or advice for pile number 3? Guidance or advice for pile number 3. Guidance and advice for pile number 3. Okay. I can find peace in every breath. Okay, so I feel like this is really calling upon you to meditate. It's funny. I was just looking at the bottom of the deck, and it says, "When in doubt, I choose to see peace." So you have peace and peace. So I think a lot of that has to do with meditation, reminding, maybe finding who you really are. Because after all these years of putting all these cloaks on and masks and holding all of this in, you may have forgotten who you really are, right? So I think this really calls on you to go inwards, and really truly find that inner peace. What brings you peace? What brings you love? What brings you joy, happiness? I don't need to find my purpose. My purpose will find me. So it's funny, because this kind of goes with if you believe, right? So it's like, well, am I doing the right thing? Am I going the right way? Should I be doing something else? But again, I think that if you believe, and if you have that, that beautiful heart chakra open with the highest good for all souls involved, unconditional loving attitude, then absolutely your purpose will find you. It's a divine we all have a divine purpose, whether we choose to accept it or not. But we all have a divine purpose, and that those spirit guides, those angels, they are going to help you guide. They're going to help you, guide you towards that purpose. You just have to ask for help, right? And really, again, come at it from a loving perspective, right? With unconditional love. Okay, and there is always a solution of the highest good. Okay, so I think I've said this: highest good, I don't know, probably maybe 10 times already in this spread. So regardless of the way that a situation may seem, that you're hurting other people, I think, again, if you have the highest good in mind, that is always a solution, right? And it may not be apparent. You might need to meditate a little bit to find that peace, so that you can really understand what is the highest good for every soul involved, right? But I definitely feel like there's a lot of changes happening. So just remember that, again, there's a purpose for everybody. Every person on this earth has a purpose. We all have a certain part to play in this whole life, right? We all have a certain key aspects to our souls, to our life journey that is important for the collective, right? For the collective ascension of all the souls. And I think that if you are able to find that inner peace, and remind yourself that you are worthy and that you do deserve the best, you are going to be able to come from a place of love, and be able to find that solution to the highest good. So wishing you all love and light. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.